Football is life, but also so is grief. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, I am a geek, and you are watching Kevin the Geek. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Welcome if you are a new viewer, welcome back if you are a returning viewer. If you haven't done so already, please click the notification bell and subscribe to the channel so you know when all my videos go live. But for today, we're talking about Season 1, Episode 6 of Ted Lasso, 2 Aces. Now, I am going to get to the crux of the matter of the big bulk of this episode in just a moment. But first of all, I've probably said it so many times for this show, but I love what it does to develop all of the characters. And I love all of the subtle nods it makes within all the episodes to tease all these future things that are going to happen in future episodes. You've already seen it in an earlier episode where they're having their treatment in the main dressing room rather than in the actual treatment room itself. You see Higgins in a previous episode talking about his cat who is sick, and they all come back together in this episode. So the future planning of this show should really be commended by the writers. They are clearly thinking about every little subtle thing and nuance throughout the entire show. So big props to them for that. Now, of course, in this episode, one of the characters that takes big centre stage is Jamie Tart. And we have so far spent 5 episodes getting to know this cocky, arrogant, self-absorbed, self-obsessed narcissist whose only goal is to show everyone how good of a person he is at playing football. And we finally in this episode get to see the results of everything that Ted is doing to try to get through to Jamie. Now, Ted had huge cojones in the last episode to make a very difficult decision to bench his best player. With this episode, we see the fallout from that decision. So the first thing that you see, Ted, of course, is having a press conference with all the various members of the media, and Jamie kind of slips into a room. Now, firstly, I don't understand how the press could have missed that he was there at the back. Yeah, that could have been done a little bit better. Maybe they could have had a bit of attention, maybe get Jamie's point of view. As it was, the way that Ted handled it, I think was done really, really well. Trent Krim asked a very important question, are you going to keep your best player on the bench? And Ted said very truthfully,
that depends on Jamie. He knows what we need from him. So let's keep it going, yeah? Kid, come on, hit me.
So Ted is really showing that he wants to allow Jamie to be the one to make that final decision, to be the one to decide what kind of a person he is. And Ted is doing that throughout this entire series, so he's very consistent with his approach. But then you have the scene in the dressing room, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit more detail in a moment, because it kind of comes into a bit more of the wider view of how Ted is coping in this episode. But Ted gets very angry with the fact that Jamie basically decides to make that decision. You know what? I ain't going to do anything with you want. I'm good enough. And if you don't appreciate me, I ain't going to bother. And so there's this real intense standoff between Jamie and Ted.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm talking about practice. And you can't do it. Because you're hurt. Right? It's fine by me.
And it takes the incoming Danny Rojas.
Football is life. No. Danny Rojas.
I think to remind Jamie that You can be an amazing footballer, but you don't have to be an arsehole about it. And I must say, I love Danny Rojas as a character. I love his boundless enthusiasm. Maybe because I see a lot of myself in him, just trying to be that constant, ember of positivity. I love that about Danny, and I think he's a truly incredible character, and it really adds another dimension to this team. Even from the first scene, where you see Danny doing his skills on the pitch, it's very reminiscent of what we've seen previously with Jamie Tart, but the one subtle difference you see after Danny does his his little stepovers and little skills, he passes it to another player. Now, when Jamie did that in an earlier montage, he took it all the way to goal and scored the goal himself. Now, Danny still scored the goal in the training, but he did it by utilising other members of his team. And that shows the real big difference between Danny and Jamie. And I love that little subtle impact there.
Did you see that? I can't really tell, but it seems like he's very good. Cheers again.
But ultimately, what Ted is trying to do in this episode is he wants to finally get this united front. And he does it in a really nice way. He unites them in this idea that the treatment room is cursed from, these past soldiers from the First World War. And, would that be a thing that footballers realistically would believe and everything? Maybe, maybe not. You could say it's kind of stretching it a little bit. But the end result, where you have the whole team there in that treatment room, for them to sacrifice something that is personal and means something to them, I think, one, that's a really good thing to get them to believe in this curse, and they're going to get rid of it. But it also allows all of the players to see that each of them have a vulnerable side in whatever way that may be, whether it be, Sam, and his pride of his heritage with his African and Nigerian roots, whether it's Roy with, holding onto a blanket that his granddad gave him when he was 9. Colin giving away the keys to his Lamborghini. Someone else giving some sand, that was from a beach when they had a one-night stand with a supermodel. All these little things. It just enables them to, understand one another on a much more personal level. But here's the crucial thing. Ted knows that it's not just about the team. He's got to get everyone involved. And I think that Ted knows that Rebecca wouldn't have come if he had gone directly himself. I think he knew that he needed someone else. And so I like the fact that they sent Sam. But the two biggest ones I really liked from that little scene was Higgins and Nate. Because both of these are characters that have been really marginalised by the whole team for many episodes. Especially when Nate, he holds up his sunglasses and says that someone told me I once looked like Clive Owen. And he can't quite do it. But the team rally behind him. And to be honest, one of the voices you hear is from Isaac. One of the people that was relentlessly bullying Nate throughout this episode. That shows that they're starting to accept Nate as part of the team. And you saw that last time when Isaac also kind of moved along on the bench to allow Nate to sit down. Such an important little touch. And speaking of Isaac and Colin, actually, great little scene to have them standing up against Jamie after Ted tells Jamie to go out and pat the cones. Jamie, being his arsey self, says, "Colin, you go and do it." They actually stand up to him and say, "No, you were told to do it." Because they know that he's being a dickhead. And it's time that Jamie was put in his place. So I really like that. But coming to Ted in this episode, and this is really what I want to talk about the most with this. The way that Ted acts in this episode and for maybe the next 2 episodes as well, you see him dealing with the stages of grief. Now, traditionally, there are 5 stages of grief. You have anger, depression, bargaining, denial, and acceptance. And for a lot of people, they say you literally go one by one in each order. But to be perfectly honest, I think you can go in any direction throughout all of those. And it's only when you have embraced all 5 of them that you really can truly accept. Because here's the thing. I think Ted has already been at the acceptance phase of his breakdown of his relationship with Michelle. But he has to go through all the different things. He's got to go through anger and bargaining and depression and all those kind of stuff. And I think in this episode, you definitely see at least 3 of them. You see him right at the start of the episode, where you can see that emotionally it's really hit him hard. You see him taking off his wedding ring and how down he is. And the grief really affects him. Ted is always, this straight talker and is to the point and has all this amazing sayings. But here, it's almost like he's lost the confidence in himself, in his own words, and can't quite find the right words in the way that he normally does. Then you see him go through anger. And this is the anger between him and Jamie. And this scene, it's not only that he's angry, okay? I think it's similar to the fact that, like before, he didn't quite have control of his emotions. And so he can't quite speak in the same way. Now, I know the whole practice speech, it is a bit of a play on a real life kind of situation and something that happened in American sports. But they've done it in such a way here that I think it's there to show that Ted is starting to lose control a little bit. And the fact that someone is really not accepting his methods and accepting what he's trying to do for the betterment of the whole team, that gets to him. And that's why he's at this point that he just can't quite find the words, and that's why it comes across in the way that it does. And then after that, I think comes the third instance, the third stage of coping with grief, and that's the bargaining. But this comes out not in the way that you would probably normally expect. But here, he is making a bargaining with himself and his coach and his team that he's going to bring them together. He's going to do whatever he can to make this a united team. And I think this is what is going to help him ultimately get over the grief of the loss of his wife and the breakdown of their relationship. And I think that Ted is going to get to that point where he's going to be able to be at that acceptance phase, but he's going to go through a whole lot in order to get there. And it feels like he almost does. And then, right at the end of the episode, Ted goes through grief yet again. And this time, it's because of Jamie and his breakdown of his relationship with Rebecca. So when Ted comes into the locker room after the previous night and the success and the euphoria that he's finally got a united team, he comes into the locker room, walking through this united front, gets into the office, and Coach Beard and Nate have to break the news to him that Jamie has left the team. He has been recalled from his loan spell and has gone back to Manchester City. And this anger just bursts out of him. I don't think he would have reacted in the way he did had it not been for the breakdown of his relationship with Michelle. I think because he's been coping and dealing with all this stuff, he's just got all this emotions bursting out of him, which comes out to Rebecca. And this is probably the angriest we've ever seen Ted.
Look, I'm trying to be cool about this, but I am just seeing red everywhere.
Well, perhaps you should leave before you say something you'll regret.
It's such a roller coaster of emotions for this episode. And I love every single moment of it. I've said it so many times with so many different episodes. This is probably the best episode of the series. And to be honest, I'm getting to that point after rewatching them again. I don't think you can really say that there is a best episode. Because I think every episode is so crucial to the overall story. But those are just my thoughts for episode 6, season 1 of Ted Lasso. What are your thoughts? Please do drop a comment down below. Now, it has finally been announced that Ted Lasso is going to be coming out this spring. It's not technically a date as of yet. So, at the moment, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do things, because I don't expect that I will have finished all of season 1 and season 2's reviews by the time season 3 comes out. So, give me your thoughts on how you would like me to do this. Do you want me to do my initial thoughts as the episodes come out, and then do a proper review after I've finished season 2 as well? Would you like me to just wait until I've done all of the reviews so far and then get on to season 3? Whatever your thoughts are, again, drop a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Again, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. But I love having you on this journey with me. Until next time, my name is Kevin. I am a geek. And you have been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.